LCTV is your nonprofit community media station. Please donate at lctv.org to keep us strong. Thank you.
Hello everyone and welcome to another version of Talkin Town Talk. I'm your host Larry Sidelinger, and today we are in the studio with one of our bands that's going to perform here in February at the Waldo Theatre. We have Fleetwood Mac in the studio, and guys, welcome to LCTV studio. We're recording this on a Saturday morning. Thank you so much. I know some of you came from great distances to sit down and for this little interview and tell us a little bit about Fleetwood Mac. And like I was telling you off stage, off camera, I know very little about Fleetwood Mac. Good music, what I've listened to, but so I'm here to get educated by you folks, and I'm really looking forward to your show because I do love live music. So I'm going to let you guys go around and introduce yourselves and who you play in the part of Fleetwood Mac. And I'm going to start with you, Mark.
Okay, first of all, we're actually called Crystal Vision.
That's correct.
To avoid any lawsuits.
Fair enough.
We're not really Fleetwood Mac. I play John McVie. I play bass in the band. Some guitar. I actually do a little more than what John does in Fleetwood Mac. I play some acoustic guitar and I actually add some vocal harmonies, which John very seldom does in Fleetwood Mac. But because we don't have 13 backup singers, I will jump in and fill in on a lot of the harmonies.
Cool. Dan.
Good morning, I'm Dan Willertz. I'm from West Bath, and I am the drummer in the Crystal Vision band here. The original drummer for Fleetwood Mac is Mick Fleetwood. But I also add to the band, I also play violin on a couple songs too. So
a drummer that plays violin also?
Yes, I do.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
that's a real mix in instruments.
Yeah.
Lisa.
I'm Lisa Lynn Wheeler, and I play Stevie Nicks. And, well, everybody knows Stevie Nicks.
Brendan.
I am Brendan Bracey. I came from Strong, Maine, and I play a lot of instruments, but in this band I play Lindsey Buckingham, so I do guitar and vocals mostly.
Cool. Jane.
I am Jane Klucke. I am from Georgetown, Maine, and I play Christine McVie in Crystal Vision. So I sing and I do keys, and mostly the keys that Christine does, but I also will throw in using my keyboard for some other instrumentation, bass. At one point I'm an entire brass band with my keyboard, so I kind of fill in some parts on the keys as needed.
Cool. You can get a trumpet out of a keyboard, huh?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, if you have the right keyboard.
That age of computers. Mm-hmm. Wanda.
So I am Sharon Solani, the not as well-known member of Fleetwood Mac. She's actually been the backup vocal singer with them for over 40 years. So that's my main role, is the backup vocals with harmonies, and I also add in keyboard and some percussion as needed.
Great. Well, this is going to be fun. So how did you get the name Crystal Vision?
I think that came from one of Stevie's songs, Dreams. There's a line in there where she says Crystal Vision, and it just sounded like it, like
catchy
it would
name.
fit. Yeah, it sounded catchy.
One
yes.
that people wouldn't forget.
Yeah, exactly.
You always want to name people, like the Stones, the Beatles. So how long have you guys all been together?
We've been together about 5 years, totally.
Playing this act as the Fleetwood Mac tribute band?
Well, we started with 3 original members, Mark, Wanda, and myself, and then the COVID hit, and then we had to step away, and then we had 3 new members. And first we got Dan Willertz over here, and then we got Brendan Bracey, and then we got Jane Klucke, and that completed us, and we've been playing ever since.
So Dan, how did you kind of get in this mix as the drummer?
I was recruited.
Oh, were you the violin player that they were looking for?
Yeah.
That was a shock.
I was recruited by Mark. I've done other things with Mark in the past, like at the Chocolate Church, and he was aware of my drums and being able to play fairly well. So I was able to step in and fill the role vacated by another drummer. So
Just like the original Fleetwood Mac, that
Yeah.
changes faces all the time.
Yeah.
And Brendan, how did you come into the picture from Strong, Maine? I mean, that's not like right next door.
No, I was actually on vacation, and I was trying to get my my former band back together, and we were COVID, obviously, ruined a lot of bands and stuff like that, and everyone, and from my band, got used to having free time because we were playing in bars every weekend and had no personal time, and so I was just kind of fed up and desperate and started looking online, and the first thing I saw was an ad for a Fleetwood Mac tribute band, and I thought, I might be able to do that. I can play guitar. I was still learning the ropes singing wise, but I was like, I might figure it out. We'll see what happens. And they didn't hate me.
If all else fails, Google it, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. That's all you can do.
Mark and yourself, how did you happen to come up with this? You and Wander together. How did you come up with this?
It actually sprung out of a production of Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Wow.
And I was a member of the pit band in that show. And the music director at the time approached me at one point and said, how about a Fleetwood Mac band? And I said, sure. I said, of course. And that's really how it started. It actually sprung from that. So it's a good example of you never know the connections that you make from music and theater, where it's going to lead. So it's a good lesson, I think, to be involved in as much as you can be involved in. Mm-hmm. Meet as many people as you can.
Keeps you young too.
Exactly.
Jane, how about yourself?
So my story is actually a little bit similar to the founding of the band in that Mark and I were doing a musical theater cabaret. I think it was the fall of 2022. And that was where we met. We had met through a mutual acquaintance, and we were both invited to sing on the show. And I guess apparently Wanda was in the audience. Yeah. And I guess they were looking, from my understanding, they were looking for a Christine McVie at the time. And apparently I impressed them enough that they asked me to join the band. And so I started in January 2022, and it was just an amazing opportunity. I am so grateful for the kinds of, like you were saying, the kinds of opportunities that come up when you put yourself out there, because it's been an absolutely life-changing experience, I would say.
So, Wanda, you not only play a part in the band, but you're also the band recruiter.
Evidently.
You're multi-hats, huh? Does she also hand the checks out after the show?
No, I do that.
So how did you come into this?
Well, I'm married to Mark. So
By default?
we had actually been looking for something that we could do together musically. And so this was a really great opportunity for me to be, because I love to do harmonies and kind of be in the background, and this is a perfect fit for what I like to do.
Cool. So how often do you guys get together to play this show? How many shows a year do you play? Not enough or too many?
Not enough.
Not as much we like.
Yeah. So after COVID, we sort of had to reset.
Sure.
And start,
as everybody did.
Right. And with new members, we had to begin learning the songs over again, and
Learning each
everybody's
other.
finding their own space and how it all kind of the pieces fit together. So we're getting back on a roll again, and right now we are scheduling our 2024 concerts right now. So
Well, hopefully ours is one of the first ones.
it is.
So being such great distance apart, how do you get a chance to practice? Do you come together like one Saturday a month or something and try to?
Usually one Saturday a week. Well, every week usually.
As often as we can,
Yeah.
I get the pass to, that was my only stipulation joining, is I really wanted to join, and I liked playing with everyone, and I could see the cool things that we could do as a group. But my only stipulation was I got, COVID gas prices were astronomical. So my stipulation was I'd really just, if I could come once a month, you have me. If I could just come to one rehearsal,
And Brendan is really great about practicing at home. So when he comes to his one rehearsal, he's ready to go.
He does his homework.
Yeah.
He does.
And in the meantime, the rest of us get together every Saturday morning and hammer things out together. So
Cool stuff. What's been your favorite concert memory of doing this Fleetwood Mac?
I think that I really hold on to the first gig at the Chocolate Church,
Yeah.
just because that was my
was
first show
your
since COVID, but let alone, as a whole group. So that was
these members here.
Yeah.
That was the first,
Yeah.
first one.
This group here at the Chocolate Church was your first show together?
yeah.
It was.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
In fact, the video clip that you have is from that show.
Right.
That was our very first show together as the 5 of us here.
and granted, I feel like we've come a long way musically from that,
Yeah, true.
but the memory of that energy in the room,
the Yeah, the first time we played together, that was just magical almost.
Thrilling.
Yeah.
There's something about music when you're playing with another person, you know when you know type of thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's like a love story almost. That's probably a little bit over the top, but you know when you know the other person is feeling the same thing. You're feeling the same groove or the same beat, and it's pretty cool feeling. So, were you all fans of Fleetwood Mac as young people growing up?
Well, I liked them. I liked all their songs. I mean, there are some songs out there that I didn't even realize that was Fleetwood Mac. It was just, I just knew the song.
Well, that would be myself.
Yeah.
Like I told you before,
Exactly.
I was listening to Fleetwood Mac songs. Oh yeah, I remember that song.
Yeah, it's like when,
But I never would have guessed if I'd heard it on the radio
Yeah.
who was playing it.
It's like when Mark and Wanda found me, they just gave me a call and they said, oh, we know exactly who we can get for Stevie because
We got a Stevie Nicks.
I met these guys for a rock show. We were doing 25 years of rock and I auditioned with Stevie Nicks songs. So Mark's like, oh, I know who to ask. Perfect. So
Sounds more like Stevie than Stevie does.
What are the coolest things that's happened in your concerts, in a concert? Any one particular thing ever stick out?
One thing that sticks out to me that was just a really particularly magical thing is times where the audience really engages. In particular, what comes to mind is our show this past summer on the Bath waterfront. And there's a nice big space in front of the stage. And so we invited people up, and Lisa's always great about inviting people up to dance.
throw out roses and things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, she gives that little prize. It's great. It's lots of fun. So just seeing how many kids there were, like families with young kids and teenagers, and just the next generation was really, really into the music, and that was just really cool to see.
Yeah, that's.
Well, it just shows you the music that they made had some. Well, there was a power band. They were a world touring band, but their music they made had that feeling, the soul. I couldn't tell you a disco song or a rap song.
Right.
They won't remember those in 30 or 40 years, but they'll remember some of the the Beatles and the Stones and the Beach Boys and Fleetwood Mac. They'll remember these bands.
Right.
And I think that's what's really cool is like a lot of people, they don't know, it's like Lisa said, you know a lot of Fleetwood Mac songs, but you don't really know it's them because they had 3 different songwriters and they wrote 3 completely different styles. That's true. So, I liked Fleetwood Mac before I joined the band, but I didn't realize how much fun it would be to play in the group because every time a singer takes the spotlight for a new song, it's like a completely different energy and vibe.
Yeah. It's always very fresh. It's like you never feel like you're like anything's stale or like you're getting tired of one style of music. And we try to set up our set lists so that there's a lot of variety between who's singing lead and who's what song is written by whom, so that it really just keeps moving in this way that feels very fresh and exciting,
And the
no
most
matter
fun
how many
part-
times.
The most fun part of it too is when we're rehearsing. I mean, we never know how it's going to turn out. I mean, sometimes it's better than the last, sometimes it's the same, but it's usually different. I mean, Fleetwood Mac did that too. I mean, every time they played.
Well, they were a
song,
big band.
they're
They
always
weren't a
did
3 or
different
4. They were a
things.
big 6
Oh,
or 7
yeah.
member
Yeah.
band all the time.
Right.
Sure.
And one of the really great things about our particular group is that we span 6 decades just among us. So we reach all generations just from us, so that's really exciting too. So
What did we figure? 250 years musical experience between all 6
Yeah.
I
of
think it
us.
was around
Yeah.
230 years we've had
Yeah.
combined musical experience. Yeah.
Somebody ought to know the G note or the A note. I don't know the A chord.
That's a lot of fun because whenever we get into these discussions about how to set up a certain song or arrange, we're all bringing these really diverse backgrounds, and so the language that Mark might use to talk about a musical concept is very different from the way that I might talk about it, which is very different from the way that Wanda might talk about it, or Lisa. So each one of us brings this language that's so different that it can be very comical and at times, kind of trying to all get on the same page.
There can be a lot of discussion because we're trying to figure out how to communicate what we're trying to say most effectively for everyone to get it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too because he's the baby of the band, and Mark and I are the seniors. We're the oldest ones here, and then there's Dan.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because, of course, Fleetwood Mac had such a tumultuous band relationship with each other, and people coming and going and reuniting, and what was 20 different members, I think, have all played, different people play. So to be able to laugh about it, I'm sure in their conversations there was not a lot of laughing.
Well, it came and went, I think.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Do each of you have your own favorite song? Do Brendan and Lisa like the same song?
I like Landslide. What can I say? I mean, that's my go-to. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really. It's hard.
Yeah, so many favorites.
There's a lot.
I like a lot of I have favorites of if your songs. I really like So Afraid. And then for you, I think I like the songs that I enjoy singing backup on of the other people. So I really like Sisters of the Moon that you sing.
That's a favorite.
And then I think of my own. Probably my current favorite right now is You Make Loving Fun.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah.
Yeah, that song doesn't really get old.
No.
How about you, Wanda?
Oh, goodness. There are so many, like we were saying, there's just so many different types of songs, but there are the power songs and they're the softer, more beautiful.
You end up liking the songs for different reasons.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't know if I could pick a favorite. First thing that came to the top of my mind was I'm So Afraid, which is a Lindsay Power song. I like singing backup on that. I just like the feel. I like to be in the middle, even if I didn't sing or play, I would like to just be in the middle of that song and just feel it around me. That's the kind of song that is for me.
In fact, in rehearsals, if Brendan doesn't happen to be there that day, we all sing the part.
So riddle me this one. So if your lead guitar player's not there, how do you practice?
Mark.
Mark sits there.
Yeah.
So, but you play bass. So who plays bass?
Either we don't have it, or somebody will take it on the keyboard.
Yeah. And sometimes Lisa or I will sing a guitar solo.
Exactly. Sing the solo. Yes.
Well, if nothing else, you'll get better musically by playing different songs and whatnot. That's pretty interesting.
Mark plays all instruments, every instrument you could imagine, so he can fill in.
We tried to count them once. It was
impossible.
Impossible,
It's crazy.
So, do you get fans singing out from an audience, calling for requests?
Well,
Sometimes.
Because I've seen bands that won't play requests. And you probably have all heard that. We don't do requests.
Right.
The good bands, I always said the good bar bands always do requests because
I
you're
always
there
do.
to entertain and everybody to have a good time. It's not about you, it's about the audience. Because they're the ones paying your fee that night.
That's right. Got to make them happy.
It's a little bit different in a concert situation.
I would think so, yes.
And we just do concerts. We don't do the bar kind of thing.
Not anymore.
So
Are you saying those days are behind you?
Yeah, they are for me.
way behind.
That was no.
But we'll go into a concert, a regular 2-hour concert, and we have 2 sets.
Sure.
Pre-scripted. If somebody calls out something and we know it, we'd be glad to do it. I mean,
We did that as an encore on one.
Yeah,
one
with
of our
Dreams.
shows.
that's right.
Yeah. Because we have a set list that's longer often than what our allotted time is, so that gives us some flexibility, which is
Right.
nice.
Right. I try to have more questions than I can ask and answer. I don't want to tell anybody. That's a secret. Don't tell anybody. Okay. So you're playing the Waldo in February. What's after that? What's your plans for after that? Where can folks see you up and down the coast here?
We've got
You got any-
We-
You got any?
She's our mom. She usually
Okay, Mom
does
Wanda.
that.
She's also the booking agent, huh?
Yeah, and I run the website, and don't even go there. So we have one scheduled in May at the Chocolate Church, May 18th, and then what are we doing? July something, which I can't remember off the top of my head.
15th?
We're going to be at the Bath Waterfront.
Yeah.
I think it's the 13th of July.
Okay.
There's no one in
Close.
Waterboro.
And then there's one in
Yes.
Waterboro in August, and we have a few more that we're just nailing down, but I'm not at liberty to say yet.
Okay.
So,
So you have a website.
Red Rocks.
How do people find the website?
it's Crystal Vision Tribute at
Tribute.com.
.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crystal, I've got to write this down.
Crystal
Vision.
Vision Tribute. No, that's not
No,
right.
it's Crystal Vision Fleetwood
Fleetwood
Mac
Mac
Tribute.
Tribute.
Oh, that's right. We had to get all
.com.
We have to write
There
it
we
down
go.
too.
Sorry.
Can I borrow that pen?
So Crystal Vision Fleetwood Mac Tribute.com.
If
That's
they want to get hold of the band, that's how to do it.
That's the
I spell
website.
this?
Well, that's the
I
website.
believe
Yeah.
That's the
It's
website.
right on that line.
But you have, I'm sure you have Messenger or something on there. People.
Yep.
Yep.
Ton.
Yep.
What is it that you would really like people at home to know about Fleetwood Mac? And I'll just throw this to anybody. What's the one thing that you would like to have people know about Fleetwood Mac band, the tribute band?
Oh, Crystal Vision.
Yes.
I personally would think that we try very hard to be as authentic and as true to Fleetwood Mac music as we can, and our concerts are an attempt to give the real experience to the audience members of what it might be like to be at a Fleetwood Mac concert.
Yeah.
So somebody can close their eyes and they can just.
Yes.
Right. It requires a lot of equipment, and our sound guys usually don't love us because we end up
so
having
many
so many
different
things going on, and you know, I bring 6 different guitars just to fill my roles, and Mark brings probably around that. You know,
Yeah, I bring
It's always
clothes.
swapping something. Yeah.
I bring clothes and shawls and
Lots of Stevie Nicks.
yes,
I think
all the stuff.
one thing that's important too, and to me this is very important because my main background is as a singer, is that I think each of us really puts in the effort to really emulate the vocal quality. And I think that there are other tribute bands that don't necessarily put as much focus on that, but I think we all are skilled enough singers where we can really do that. And
Well, that's the heart of the Fleetwood Mac is the harmonization in the vocals.
yeah, so you'll hear Lisa sing, and boy, she's spot on. Like it
Yeah.
really does.
I have heard
sound-
Lisa sing.
Yeah, so
It's very good.
And I think we all three really do that.
Yeah.
pretty well.
Yeah, we do.
I think that sets
Try
us
to
apart.
emulate as close as possible. Absolutely.
And that being said, so when you decided to put this Fleetwood Mac tribute together, did you like go back in the encyclopedia on them and start reading about Fleetwood Mac and getting ideas?
I've read books. I've read books, and I've lent some books to these guys, and it's amazing some of the stories that you get out of
What
them.
surprised you the most about that?
Oh gosh, the gossipy stuff. yeah, the relationships and the fighting and the oh my gosh, it was just.
There were some
everything.
volatile situations then.
I mean, you know, we have our times, believe me. You know, 6 people is hard not to, you know, disagree once in a while, but we try to make it work. You know,
Yeah.
we try to be cohesive and keep it going.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that helped me when I joined was I really watched live performances like crazy, just to see like what you're gonna be emulating, what energy you're gonna try to match, you know, stuff like that, you know. So when I learn a song for the band, I learn it off the record, but then there's a point where I stop looking at that and then I start looking at live performances if there are any, and you know, because that's what it's going to be more like anyway, you know. And the way they change songs live is always interesting because they don't
Oh,
always
right.
do stuff the same, you know.
So
Sometimes the live performances are so much more interesting
Oh,
than
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
record.
It's almost
you
like a
know.
different song sometimes.
Yeah. One has got too much sophistication. The records have, you know, I think live is more ad lib, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Oh, absolutely, so
You
much
know,
more fun
and
too.
the records are all this polished sound, and
Yeah.
it really, by the time they're done, you say, "Is that the same band?" I guess I don't know.
But the song itself evolves over time too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they'll sing it differently, they'll play it differently. It's the same process that happens with a TV series. If you watch the pilot of a TV series and then you watch it again 2 years later, it's a completely different show. And the same thing happens with a song. You know, it's born, but then it develops as you perform it.
And
Over
acoustics
over.
change
play it a
depending
ton.
on,
Right.
like they're standings with each other, you know.
We try to get it close as possible, but we would like to have fun too. We try to make it as fun as possible because the audience can tell if you're not having fun.
Yep, always.
So we'd make changes,
Really.
but they really do honor the spirit of the song, I think.
Well, these tribute bands certainly have become really popular because you're not going to see, obviously, the Beatles or I don't want to say the Rolling Stones. They may be playing in 20 years now. I just heard that they're going to be in Foxborough this spring. So, but I mean, there are so many bands that have gone. Their days gone, but the music lives on. And to have folks like yourself, professional musicians, that can play that music and keep that whole feeling of a live concert on a smaller scale that the working man can go see is pretty cool stuff. And my hat's off to you to be able to bring that to the stage, because it is a stage performance. You're not just sitting there playing music.
Right.
You're bringing a stage performance to the audience.
Right.
And I think that's the thing that we really pride ourselves in the most is that we bring a ton of gear because we want people to have the most optimal experience they can have, and you can't see a show for cheap anymore. It's not very often you can see a show for $20 in this day and age.
Nope.
So to be able to go and see not just a tribute band, but a tribute band that puts in the effort to capture the sounds.
Rather than just making the music, they actually put the theatrics, so to speak,
Yes.
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's
why I
pretty
love
cool.
being Stevie, because you can float all over the stage and I just have such fun with that.
Assuming the stage is big enough.
I know.
Right,
I know.
yeah.
So it's sort of twofold. We make a very strong effort to recreate the music as accurately as we can, but also give that feeling of being with Fleetwood Mac and the energy that we get from the audience. Also, it's a give and take
That's everything.
during a concert. It's really powerful. I mean, we can rehearse in our music room as much as we want, but until we get on stage and connect with the audience, I mean, that's a
Game
completely
day is
different.
game day is a whole lot different.
Right,
They
exactly.
drive us. That's what they
Well, I
do.
want to thank you guys for sitting in. This has been a lot of fun, getting to know you a little bit. I'm really excited about seeing your show the end of February. It's a rock and roll extravaganza with the Fleetwood Mac tribute by the Crystal Vision Band at the Waldo Theatre, February 25th at 2 p.m. Come enjoy the sights and the sounds of the great rock and roll band Fleetwood Mac. February 25th, 2 p.m., the Waldo Theatre.
LCTV is your nonprofit community media station. Please donate at lctv.org to keep us strong. Thank you.